Perseverance is not a long race. It's many short races, one after the other. Walter Elliot. My friends, I'm broadcasting to you from a Sky Lounge right now as I get ready to go on a flight overseas. I'll probably come to you a little bit earlier next week. We shall see, but I will try as best I can to make sure every broadcast goes out to you. We're wrapping up the markets here this Friday. Markets closing in about 30 seconds or so. And what do we see going on? Well, as we've seen things, and let's start with the S&P 500, as we've seen things this week struggling to stay up, we can see that we indeed have a green spinning top for the week. We haven't rotated over yet. We are still in the green. Look at the volume right at average, very small top. What does our volume training teach us? It teaches us that something is going on. If this kind of volume, you look at last week's volume, the week before that, the week before that, and the week before that, and look at the week before that starting in March. On March the 20th, that week, what do you see? Well, the week before you hit a bottom with super high volume. Then you had one of those weeks sort of starting everything off with decent volume. And then as things moved up, the volume stayed low until now. This is the highest volume we've seen, except for that first week, beginning the 27th, after the takeoff, moving up. So that's showing us something that we need to pay close attention to. If we look back in time and we look for that kind of candle action, and let me bring this chart back for you. You see it at the beginning of the move and at the ending of a move, don't you? You can see it at the beginning of a move, then you can see things moving down, popping around, and again at the end of a move. One doji there in the middle of that move, but a doji at the end. So it can portend a couple of times, you'll see, in the middle of moves where they go up further, but most often you see it showing either the beginning of a move or an end. So we're going to pay close attention as to what happens over the course of this next week. S&P up for the day right at 0.85%. Now we can see for the last 2 days moving up to where things were back on midweek last week. So we will pay attention. We got a nice green candle there. First day of this latest 2-day candle pushing through that trend line again after dipping below it. So have markets topped? They may have. We don't have total confirmation yet. We will pay close attention as to how things take off this next week. What about the NASDAQ 100? Very similar. We can see, again, a spinning top here. We can redraw this line with that green candle now. Look at all that volume with no move at all in the candle itself. Very small candle. Lots of moves on the top and bottom as far as the wicks go, which are telling us insiders are selling while the suckers are potentially buying. The potential suckers are buying. So we will pay close attention to that. 2 days of up movement. We can see a decent candle pushing back through the trend line on Friday. That's the first day of the latest 2-day candle. Now let's take a look at bonds. Bonds really swinging back up 1.60%. We can see where they bounced off what has been a ceiling. And how did this week end up? Well, ended up almost with a doji. You can see we had last week a nice decent sized down candle. This week we have a spinning top. Prices pushing back through on the 2-day candles through what we had tried to draw as a down line. We will pay attention this next week because it is sort of nebulous as to where we are going with bonds at this point, and we'll see if things continue to move up or roll back over with all this indecision on the weekly chart. How about gold? Gold's about flat, 0.03% going into the second doji below that prior trend line. Again, look at all these spinning tops here. Lots of indecision. What is gold going to do? Look at all that volume with that red doji. Now, if I were going to have to bet on that, I would think things are probably going to go down, but I'm not going to bet on it until I get it qualified. this next week. So look for a potential down practice trade in gold if it continues to set up as it is. We go from gold to another chart that looks a little bit similar, and that is Bitcoin as we end the week down 1.28%. See where Bitcoin on the half-day chart really popped in the morning on Wednesday, and then since then, just not gaining any traction. I will be putting out for you the charting cryptos and commodities. As soon as I finish this, I will release it to the general public. It's been available since Tuesday evening for the Patreon members. So we'll continue to watch and see what Bitcoin's doing, but struggling to get any higher for the last 2 weeks. That is where we are, folks. So appreciate you being with us. Hope that you have a great weekend. Patreon members appreciate that all that you do to support us in our work. God bless, my friends. Have a great weekend.